Hello and welcome to another anime lore and theory video. I'm Shergog, your host, and today we are going to take a closer look at why Demiurge acted so tyrannical towards his allied forces in the Sacred Kingdom movie. But before we're going to take a closer look at any of this, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, as well as say thanks to all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. And with that said, let's get to the topic at hand. First, it must be said that Demiurge isn't a tyrant per se, not always at least. Anyway, right from the beginning of the first volume of Overlord, we get a good look at his character. Yes, Demiurge has a karma rating of -500 and is undoubtedly evil, but he also has allies, friends and acquaintances whom he holds in good regards. He is a three-dimensional character, and not just a caricature of a villain or a cruel tyrant, and both the anime and the light novel paint a nuanced picture of the man with the diamond eyes. And at the very beginning of the story, when the floor guardians arrived one by one on the amphitheater on the 6th and largest floor of Nezaric's great tomb, Shelty and Albedo argued over Ain Sulgun's favor. And Mara asked why marriage was so important, and for a brief moment, Demiurge considered explaining to Mare everything that goes into having children in rather explicit details. And I believe that would be one of the only educational talks even more awkward and brutal than the one between Tywin Lannister and his grandson Tommen, the king that tried to land the best ideas. But of course Demiurge dismissed this cruel thought immediately, simply to protect the boy. And when it comes to friendship, Demiurge isn't a cynical and cruel tyrant either, but someone who indeed maintains his relationships, especially with Cocytus, one of the most honorable warriors in Nezaric's Grey Tomb, and someone who wanted to spare the lizard men for their courage, spirit, honor, and willingness to sacrifice themselves in battle to protect that what was dear to them. Because originally, Ain Sulgun intended to eliminate the lizardmen after conquering them, so their bodies could join the undead army of the Grey Tomb. However, until just a few hours ago, Cocytus still saw himself as merely a tool of Nezaric's 41 supreme beings, the players of the Grey Tomb, rather than as a thinking, independent being. And this made it difficult for him to fully express his thoughts, wishes, feelings, and formulate a request in a way that would benefit both himself and Nezaric. And that's when Demiurge stepped in to help him out, suggesting that the lizardmen could be used as a test run of how Nezaric, which would soon be ruling over vast territories, could perform in governing small and isolated tribe villages. It is a way to get some practice in ruling and lording over others. And therefore Demiurge also proposed that Cocytus be assigned this responsibility. And in doing so, Demiurge really saved Cocytus's frosty behind, at least from the perspective of the other NPCs, because Ainz had essentially been asked for a favor by a floor guardian who had just failed his mission. Normally, this would offend the other NPCs, as it would be seen as disrespectful towards the Overlord. And Demiurge also enjoys going out for drinks with Cocytus, sometimes at the same bar where Shelty once tried to drown her sorrows, unsuccessfully due to her immunity to poison. And this always reminds me of that one scene from SpongeBob SquarePants from the movie at the Goofy Goobers. And Demiurge also respects the human woman Renna, whom he, like Albedo, viewed as a heteromorph in spirit. He admired her ruthlessness, which to an outsider or a human from the New World is very, very, very much unusual. But Demiurge is indeed malicious to the core, especially towards those who are weak and defenseless, and under his control. And this is the main reason Demiurge treats his own allies so brutally. He takes sheer delight in the suffering and agony of others. For example, Demiurge loved shearing the sheep at the Happy Farm and pulling their non-existent wool over their ears. Much like Tywin Lannister, he took genuine pleasure in this kind of work, although his was not just a gutting and not done on unalived animals. And by the way, I still think it's a shame that Dan and Dave cut out the scene where Tywin catches fish. as that, along with the gutting of the stag, was a nice metaphor for what he would later do to his enemies. Just again a side note on Game of Thrones. And another point I want to highlight is that, besides enjoying the suffering of others, Demiurge is very aware that the formerly scattered, hostile, and war-torn battle-hardened demi-human and heteromorphic tribes of the Iberian Hills would rebel the moment they sensed any weakness. That's why Demiurge quickly implemented very harsh punishments. For instance, one of the leaders who reported a little too late was partially skinned and flayed in front of the entire army to show everyone that even the smallest, seemingly acceptable infractions would lead to severe consequences. Consequences that naturally no one wanted to face, and by punishing even the slightest offenses immediately, larger rebellions are nipped in the bud, thus maintaining discipline in the army. If even the strongest leaders among Demiurge's troops are punished brutally, then everyone in the army understands that they are no match for Demiurge, or rather Yaldabaoth, the demon emperor, and his many demonic troops that act as enforcers. A third reason for Demiurge's cruelty was also to incite disgust, contempt, and hatred towards himself, because Demiurge knows very well how to use brutality and tyranny to prevent anyone from even considering revolting against him. But, ironically, that wasn't the goal. Demiurge, in his role as the demon emperor Yaldabaoth, was meant to be defeated eventually. And through his cruel behavior and poorly thought out hostage tactics, he ensured that the demi-humans and heteromorphic troops he had subjugated would betray him, switch sides, and had an opportunity to do so. And therefore, after a victorious battle, Einzelgon retreated to the Iberian Hills, of course under the pretense of having been defeated and being basically alive. And this allowed him to lead a rebellion in the heart of Yaldabaoth's empire, ultimately setting the stage for a decisive battle in which he could save the defected troops and the Holy Kingdom's own forces from Yaldabaoth's wrath, defeating him in a spectacular showdown, at least from the perspective of the other participants of the battle. And this allowed Ainz to appear as the savior at the very last minute. In other words, Demiurge, in his role as Yaldabaoth, acted with conscious cruelty to foster disgust and disdain towards himself, to make the rebellion against him more possible and believable and feel more natural. And now it's your turn. What's your opinion on Demiurge and his, let's say, interesting social behavior? Let me know it down in the comments. And with that said, please check out my German channel, my fantasy channel, and if you don't want to listen to my voice or accent, but are still very interested in the things I have to say, I have made an AI channel, narrated by almost a woman, where I use AI voiceovers for my videos. And the channels are all linked down in the video description. Also, please check out my Patreon if you want to support me beyond just leaving a like or sub. And with that said, I say thank you very much for watching, thanks to my Patreons for supporting this channel, and special thanks to Ada Daddy Ada, ASK, Bad Guy Ye, Bad Burrito 316, Bezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Dan Pep, Dragonlord Placido Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Feral Shivan, Guy with That Head, Hector Marino, Hoss, Huster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch V. Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishiki and Rai, Lord Touch Me, Lofrazer, Merovec, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, Oh Kill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantom, Personage, Ruru, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Kune Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Sir Axolotl, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rock Ed Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito 27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Zinukai, and Sonnegon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon under my next video.